Today, the story I'm going to tell you is about a strange and mysterious ATM that used to give one man unlimited money every night, even when his account balance was zero. This man was just an ordinary bar waiter, but this ATM made him a millionaire. Because of it, he started living the life he had always dreamed of. He made so much money from this ATM that he could easily spend the rest of his life anywhere in the world, living in luxury. But because of one foolish mistake, he got caught. And only then was this unbelievable fraud revealed, something no one was ready to believe. So who was this man? What did he find in that ATM that changed his life forever? And how did the police eventually catch him? No one had ever heard or seen anything like this before. The story begins in Australia. One night in 2011, when a man named Dunn walks up to an ATM. Dunn was completely drunk, and when he inserted his credit card into the ATM, something happened. Something that changed his entire life forever. Dunn was a resident of Melbourne, Australia. He worked at a casino, where his job was to serve alcohol to gamblers. And since he had seen many people win huge amounts of money in gambling, it left a strong impact on his mind, something that will affect many turns in this story later. While working in the casino, Dunn met a girl, and within just a few days, they got engaged. A few days after the engagement, the girl got a job in a small Australian town called Ranta, and she had to move there from Melbourne. Because Dunn had fallen in love with her, he also moved with her to Ranta. After moving, Dunn tried many different jobs from cleaner to waiter, until he finally got a job as a bartender at a pub. One night in 2011, after finishing his shift, Dunn closes the bar. Usually, he would go home after work, but that night, he had plans to drink with his friend Mark. So after closing his bar, he heads to another one where they were supposed to meet. Mark was the same friend who would be mentioned again and again in this story. But strangely, no photo of Mark has ever surfaced because Dunn never revealed his identity. Dunn and Mark meet at the bar and spend the evening drinking. They lose track of time, and eventually, Dunn decides to head home. It was already 12 a.m., but Dunn still wanted to drink more. So he pulls out his wallet to order more drinks, but then he realizes he has no money in his wallet. Mark, who had paid earlier, was already gone, drunk and confused. Dunn walks outside looking for an ATM to withdraw some cash for more drinks. After a short search, he finds one ATM of National Australia Bank. Coincidentally, that was also his bank. By now it was 12:10 a.m., and this time is very important, because the entire story revolves around it. Dunn had two cards in his wallet, a debit card linked to his savings account, where he kept his money, a credit card that allowed him to transfer money into his savings account. As a loan, Dunn first inserted his debit card into the ATM. The screen showed balance $0. Now he had only one option left: his credit card. The credit limit of his credit card was $2,000, but the problem was he had already maxed it out. He had been using it for the past month, and now it was in the negative. Despite knowing this, Dunn inserted his credit card into the ATM. Surprisingly, the screen showed $1,995 available. That meant only $5 were left before the card maxed out. Still very drunk, Dunn decided to try transferring $200 from the credit card to his savings account. He pressed the transfer button, entered $200 and hit confirm. Since the card had only $5 left, this transaction should have failed, and it did. The screen flashed. This transaction is incorrect, and the credit card popped out of the machine. Any normal person would have taken the card and walked away, but Dunn, in his drunken state, decided to reinsert his debit card just to see if the $200 had transferred. This time, instead of showing $0, the ATM displayed account balance currently unavailable. Now Dunn was confused. Why was it not showing his zero balance anymore? So, out of curiosity, he selected the withdrawal option, entered $200 and hit confirm. To his shock, the machine dispensed $200 in cash. That meant the money had somehow transferred even though the credit card was over its limit. But Dunn, still drunk, didn't think too much. He took the cash and left for another drink. He drank there until around 12:50 a.m., then got ready to head home. Just then, it started pouring rain. To avoid getting wet, he looked for shelter and spotted the same ATM with a shade on top. He stood under it to avoid the rain. But as he stood there, the thought kept bugging him. How did that ATM give me money? How was the transfer even possible when the credit card had no limit left? To test the process again, Dunn entered the ATM. He put in his debit card, checked balance again. It showed currently unavailable. He took out the debit card and inserted his credit card. Then, he again tried transferring $200. Same as before, the screen said, "This transaction is incorrect," and the card popped out. Then he reinserted his debit card, went to the withdrawal option, entered $200, and hit confirm. Again the ATM gave him $200. Now Dunn's eyes lit up. He kept repeating the process, entering bigger amounts like $400, then $800, and every time the ATM gave him the money. It was shocking. His credit card was overdrawn, his savings account was empty, and yet the ATM kept giving him cash. By the end of the night, Dunn walked home with $2,000 in cash. Tired and drunk, he went straight to bed. The next morning, all of last night started running through his mind. At first, he thought maybe it was all a dream, but when he opened his wallet and saw $2,000 in cash, he knew it was real. His first thought, check my bank balance. He checked again. Debit card still showed $0. Credit card showed $1.995. Same as last night, but now he had $2,000 in hand. He started worrying, would the bank contact him? Would police show up? But the whole day passed, no call from the bank, no visit from the police. Now it had been more than 24 hours since he took the cash. The next morning, Dunn again checked his account. This time, he got a shocker. Savings account was now showing $2,000 negative, and his credit card still showed $1,995. That meant the system had somehow corrected the glitch and settled the false balance from his savings account. Now, Dunn owed money on both cards, $2,000 on the debit card, $1,995 on the credit card. Now Dunn owed money not only on his credit card, but also $2,000 on his debit card, and this was very strange and unprecedented, because normally one cannot withdraw money from a savings account that has no balance. Seeing this, Dunn requested his bank statement, where another shocking revelation awaited him. He saw that none of the transactions he had made at that ATM were showing up, neither the transfer from credit card to debit card, nor the withdrawals. All that was showing was a $2,000 negative balance. This clearly meant that the ATM machine had recorded that cash had been dispensed, but there was no record of where that money had actually come from. At this moment, if anyone else had been in his place, they would have returned the money to the bank to clear their debt. But as soon as Dunn opened his wallet and saw the cash in his hand, the only thought that came to his mind was, better to have this money in hand than maintain a zero balance in the account. And this was the turning point in his life that would make him a well-known figure across Australia. Now, Dunn began shopping for himself, buying small household items as well as a fridge and washing machine. He also started calling his friends to the same pub where he worked for parties. After shopping and partying, he had just $300 left. Instead of returning it to the bank, he decided to gamble with this money so he could win back the amount and return it. He placed that $300 on horse racing bets, because in Australia betting on horses was common, and the pub where he worked was tied up with a betting website called Tab, Australia's largest betting site, where customers gave money at the pub to place bets online. Dunn placed all $300 via this website on horse races, but he lost the entire $300, returning home empty-handed that night. Returning home that night, Dunn thought deeply about the entire ATM incident. Now his interest grew in figuring out how this happened. Although he had no technical background and wasn't a hacker, he had stumbled upon a loophole, one that would change his life forever. After hours of thinking, the loophole Dunn discovered had to do with the timing of the withdrawals. On the night he withdrew money, it was after 12 a.m., so he decided he would again use the same ATM after midnight. A few days later, after finishing his pub shift, Dunn headed to the same ATM late at night, waiting for 12 a.m. As soon as midnight struck, he entered the ATM and inserted his debit card, where this time his balance showed $2,000. After removing the debit card, he inserted his credit card, where limit was maxed. Done. Nonetheless, transferred $1,000 from credit card to debit card. As soon as he hit confirm, the screen again displayed the error message, "This transaction is incorrect," and the credit card was ejected. Immediately after, he inserted his debit card Agonand. To his delight, his savings balance had changed from $2,000 to $1,000. This clearly meant that the $1,000 he had tried to transfer from his credit card had indeed been credited to his savings account. Dunn couldn't believe his eyes. So to confirm, he inserted his credit card again, where the balance still showed $1,995. With this, he realized he had hit a technical glitch that could change his life. He repeated the transfer of $1,000 again from credit to debit. This brought his savings balance from $1,000 to zero. In a matter of minutes, not only had $2,000 of bank debt been cleared, but he also knew the system would settle it later, and his balance would show $2,000 again. So, he transferred another $2,000 from credit card to debit card, after which his account showed $2,000. Don withdrew that $2,000, at which point his savings balance returned to zero. Although he knew the system would eventually settle the amount, he wanted to see how long it would take. He took the cash, went home, and slept. The next morning, he contacted the bank only to learn that his balance was still zero. Throughout the day, Dunn contacted the bank multiple times to check, and each time got the same reply: zero balance. Night fell, and the next morning he contacted again, this time finding his account balance had dropped to $4,000. This clearly meant that the system had settled all of the transactions, both the $2,000 from the first night and the $2,000 from the second night, bringing the total to $4,000. Dunn realized this approach couldn't continue long because he could take money out each night, but once the settled negative balance piled up, he'd be in serious trouble. The bank had an automatic system. If any account reached a negative balance of USD, the account would be frozen and the bank would send a legal notice. Dunn started looking for a way out by day and noticed two key things. First, the system took over 24 hours to settle, and second, after midnight the ATM went into standby mode and was disconnected from the main banking system for an hour. That was why transfers from credit to debit were happening so easily. During this time, an idea occurred to him. If he transferred funds every night between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., he could neutralize the previous night's negative balance before it settled. For example, if he withdrew $1,000 one night, he would transfer $2,000 from his credit card to savings the next night before settlement, allowing him to withdraw $1,000 and reset the balance. Then again the third night, even if he withdrew $1,000, he would need to transfer $3,000 from credit to debit to both withdraw $1,000 and neutralize the last two nights' negative balances. This meant the amount transferred each night would grow incrementally, and the bank's ATM allowed transfers of any six-figure amount, so he could transfer $999,999 in one go if needed. So Dunn had to make these transactions every night, and if he missed even one, all the money withdrawn up to that point would settle as negative in his account in one go, leading the bank to immediately send legal notice upon seeing the huge negative balance. During this time, he also discovered he could perform these transactions at any of the bank's ATMs, so he began withdrawing large sums each night wherever he was. Although Dunn felt some guilt about this deed, he rationalized to himself that he wasn't stealing from individuals, but from the bank, which robbed people itself. He had told neither his friends nor his fiancée about it, and within just a week he had withdrawn $2,000 from ATMs. He used the money to host parties for his friends and bet on horse races. His friends became enthusiastic participants. Dunn began spending freely, even paying the entire pub's tab to be seen as generous, and on this foundation of stolen money, he began living the life he always wanted. Gradually, people around Dunn started noticing, how could he be spending so much money when he was just a waiter and never seemed to have the financial means? When his friends asked, he told them he'd won big in horse races several times. They easily believed him, but they had no idea that in truth, Dunn was losing at gambling and drowning in debt. By now, Dunn had lost tens of thousands USD in horse racing gambling. Then one day at work, he saw the pub manager on the phone with the betting site's admin. They were saying Dunn was placing large bets, and they suspected he was scamming them, believing he was using customer money to place the bets, taking their funds but not depositing them into the secure account. Hearing this, the manager immediately checked the safe, but everything balanced perfectly according to accounting. The manager was stunned and conflicted. How was Dunn placing such large bets when the pub earned such little from betting all month? And at the same time, the betting site closed Dunn's account, and now he couldn't place any bets. Meanwhile, the pub owner began to suspect Dunn was involved in illegal activities like drug dealing, and thus fired him. Ranta, the town Dunn was living in, had a population of only 300. Being a small town, everyone knew someone else. That's how the news about Dunn spread everywhere, including reaching his fiancée. When she found out, she texted that she couldn't stay with someone involved in any illegal activity and ended their relationship. This destroyed Dunn, leaving him feeling utterly alone at that moment. Dunn decided he would tell his closest friend Mark everything about the ATM. He revealed the loophole that let him withdraw as much money as he wanted. Mark told him he didn't want to be involved, it was better not to tell anyone else, and their friendship shouldn't change. During that conversation, Dunn told Mark they should go on vacation together, and Mark immediately agreed. They both left for Melbourne, Australia. Arriving in Melbourne, they stayed at the 5-star Crown Towers Hotel, where for the first time Dunn realized he could live a luxurious life, and this was where he developed a taste for wealth and never looked back. Dunn kept thinking, I have to find that ATM before midnight tonight to do my loot transaction again. He found the ATM and, after midnight, transferred a large amount from credit and withdrew cash. The next morning, Dunn and Mark went to a casino with the withdrawn money, where they gambled all day. They played game after game and lost thousands of dollars each time, but they didn't care, because they knew they could withdraw countless money from the ATM every night. They could now go to the casino every day, and within just a few days, they had lost more money than they could earn in a whole year. A few days later, Mark told Dunn that they should go back, as he needed to return to work. But Dunn, who had become accustomed to luxury, told Mark to go back and decided to stay in Melbourne himself. Now, to keep this cycle running, Dunn needed to withdraw large sums from the ATM, but the ATM didn't have enough cash, making it very difficult for him to withdraw the required amount. Then Dunn made a risky decision. In just 1 month of daily withdrawals and transfers, Dunn's account balance had ballooned to nearly 100,000 United States dollars. To withdraw a large sum like $100,000, he would have to go inside the bank, and psychologically, that was very difficult for him, because he knew he was stealing, and he always feared the bank might detect his fraud and the police might come after him. Nonetheless, because he needed to withdraw money and the ATMs lacked enough cash, one day he went into the bank to withdraw a large amount. Dunn knew very well that he had to be extremely cautious during this process. So first, to gauge the bank's reaction, he asked a bank employee for his account balance. The bank employee told him he had 37,327 United States dollars in his account, and then asked how much he would like to withdraw. Hearing that, Dunn's fear subsided, his confidence increased, and observing the employee's normal behavior, he decided to withdraw 100,000 United States dollars. Before such a large handover can take place, bank employees need approval from a bank manager, so the employee went to the manager's cabin. Seeing the employee gone for quite a while, Dunn's fear and anxiety spiked. He thought they might have discovered his fraud and called the police. He was about to leave the bank when, 25 minutes later, the employee came out of the manager's cabin and handed him the full 100,000 United States dollars. Seeing this, Dunn's eyes lit up, and now he could withdraw as much money as he wanted directly from the bank. He no longer needed to use the ATM. Despite all this, Dunn knew that one day he would get caught, so he decided to enjoy this money and live a lavish lifestyle. About 10 days had passed since he started living in Melbourne, and this was his first 100,000 United States dollars withdrawal. He invited his group of friends, telling them to take time off work and spend their holiday with him. He would cover all expenses. Dunn booked rooms in a 5-star hotel for all his friends. and told them to order whatever they wanted and live however they wanted. He wanted to give them an experience they had never even dreamed of. In his group, there were 4 friends, 2 guys and 2 girls, and he told 2 of them about his ATM fraud. One of them said he had no interest in knowing more because he didn't want to get into trouble. He was there just to enjoy. Dunn and his 4 friends began living it up, renting limousines and helicopters for rides. And wherever he went to, a restaurant, he told the waiters to charge the bill to his account for all customers present. Dunn's extravagance was such that he sometimes booked an entire hotel floor and the pool just to host a party with his friends. He also gave them expensive gifts and paid off their loans. At the same time, Dunn showed a generous side. He saw a guitarist playing by the roadside with no audience, so he gathered people to listen and handed the guitarist a large sum of money, even USD thousands, to encourage him. He didn't just indulge himself, he also did many good deeds. He often took homeless people off the street, bought them meals in fancy hotels, and put them up for a night in those hotels. Amid all this extravagance and kindness, Dunn took special care to make a transaction at the ATM every night, making sure not to miss a single one, because missing just one transaction meant the end of his lavish lifestyle. He had set several alarms for after 12 a.m. to go to the ATM and complete his transaction between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock a.m. 4 months had passed since he started withdrawing money from a T-Miz, and, most shockingly, he had withdrawn $1 million from ATMs so far, without the bank or the credit card department noticing. At one point, Dunn even rented a plane for $90,000 and flew to Indonesia's Bali Island. He rented the entire island for 2 days so he could freely live in luxury there. Because that island had no ATM, Dunn gave both his credit card and debit card to a friend and explicitly instructed him to perform the nightly transactions without skipping. Although Dunn was living the life of his dreams with this money, the fear that the bank might detect this glitch and catch him never left him. For 4 months he remained stressed and scared, unable to get a peaceful night's sleep. To alleviate this stress and try to sleep peacefully, he began drinking heavily. After 5 months under this mental pressure, Dunn finally broke. When he realized he couldn't continue anymore, he called his 3 friends, including Marquand, told them he could no longer bear this mental agony and fear, and that he was going to stop everything. He also told them that before he quit, he would make one final withdrawal and they could buy whatever they wanted or take as much money as they needed. After this last transaction, Dunn had withdrawn a total of $1.6 million. That night, Dunn didn't go to the ATM or withdraw any money for the first time in 5 months. He skipped it. Now his account would show a negative balance of $1.6 million. All of Dunn's friends met him for the last time and then left for their homes, while Dunn stayed at the hotel with $80,000 in cash. He hid this cash in his room's bathroom and waited for the bank's or police's call. More than 24 hours later, Dunn's account displayed a $1.6 million negative balance, and within a few days, he received a call from the bank. The bank manager told Dunn that there had been some unusual activity in his account and asked what he knew about it. Dunn replied that he knew nothing. The manager said they would investigate and call him back, and warned that if they found anything, they would file a complaint with the police. That month passed with no further call, so Dunn himself called the bank to ask about their next steps. A female employee answered. Dunn explained the whole case, and she put him on hold. About 20 minutes later, a bank manager came on again and told him he wouldn't be receiving any more money, and why Dunn would know. Dunn said he didn't want any money. He just wanted to understand the unusual activity. The manager replied, "You are a bad man," and said the case had been handed over to the police for investigation, and that Dunn had ruined his own life. Convinced the police would come to the hotel to arrest him any moment, Dunn stayed there waiting, but again, a whole month passed without any news from the bank or police. Dunn decided to return from Melbourne to Ranta, his hometown, and waited for a police notice there. Several more months passed, no police, no notice. In those months, he regularly communicated with the bank, who kept threatening arrest, and first a year passed, then 2, and still, nothing happened. It began to seem that the bank was only pretending to scare him, but was taking no real action. This dragging situation drove Dunn into constant fear and anxiety. He couldn't live his life normally. He didn't know if the bank was playing games with him or if they couldn't take legal action. 2 years had gone by since Dunn's transactions, and the constant threats had destroyed him mentally. He now wanted the bank to take some action and end it once and for all. That's when he took a risky decision. He contacted Australia's most famous newspaper and told them his entire story. They invited him for an interview and even arranged a suit and dummy plane so he could replicate his lavish life in photos. The newspaper printed his article and photos, but no major attention, and the bank didn't react. Dunn wanted public pressure so the bank would act quickly. He then contacted the team behind Australia's most popular TV show, Current Affair. The producers and creators were impressed and invited him for a week-long documentary shoot. They rented hotels, planes, and cars to recreate his lavish life using bank money. Dunn waited through editing and broadcast, certain the show's airing would force the bank to act since millions watched it. After weeks of anticipation, the show finally aired, but at the end, everything collapsed for Dunn. The show denied his fraud details and, in a shocking twist, labeled him a fugitive, announcing that a warrant had been issued and urging viewers to report him to the police. Dunn was stunned and couldn't understand why the producers had lied and branded him a fugitive even though he'd shared his story with them. To add sensationalism, the show's producers emailed Dunn the night of the broadcast, praising his charm and inviting him to collect his photos and documents. It felt strange, but Dunn, desperate for closure, went to the TV office on Thursday morning. Photographers had surrounded the entrance. Before he could react, a police officer emerged and arrested him, all captured by cameras. Dunn realized the channel had staged his arrest for sensational ratings and to look like heroes. Although Dunn had volunteered his story, they used him for their benefit, revealing the dark, manipulative side of the media world. After his arrest, the police took Dunn to the station, fingerprinted him, and without questioning sent him straight to jail. He was assigned a lawyer who then revealed 2 shocking facts. The arresting officer was not the case's investigating officer. That officer was good friends with the show's producer, and they used this connection to stage the arrest. It was done purely for entertainment. Most shocking to Dunn, the bank never filed a complaint or launched an investigation against him. It became clear that the bank never wanted public exposure of serious security flaws, how a single man could steal $1.6 million United States dollars from them. They were only pretending, using threats to push him to quietly return the money. Their real concern was that such news would destroy customer trust and tank their share price. After Dunn's arrest, the bank publicly claimed no involvement. Otherwise, it would have to expose its entire accounting and take responsibility. Since Dunn had confessed on TV, the case went to court, but without bank testimony. He received just a 1-year sentence. After serving his term, Dunn was released. He gave interviews on multiple TV shows and wrote a book detailing his story. He argued that although he withdrew $1.6 million United States dollars, the absence of any formal statement from the bank kept the true amount unknown.